Interesting moral dilemma.
Okay.
I've been talking to a couple friends of mine, like vets, everybody alike, about the ends justifying the means. And it's real screwed up. And unfortunately, I think it's something that world leaders do all the time.
Oh, right? Of course.
Yeah. So the whole ends justify the means example with surgical drone strikes, and then we can move into like the trafficking conversation. Is with surgical drone strikes, you say, I'm going to kill a terrorist, right? And a bunch of these casualties are also going to be civilians. Okay. And our country, you know, America does that all the time. Yeah. So I'm wondering, it's like, you do something that terrible, you kill all these innocent people, but you say it's worth it because you killed one really bad person, right? Or one person who's
bad in your in your side,
align with ours whatsoever. And I really worry that there's trafficking going on with similar mindsets involved. You know, if Epstein, who we know didn't kill himself, if he really was a security like operative, an intelligence operative, and trafficking was a big part of that, is that our country, saying, hey, we need to get certain information from certain people, right? And the way we can control these people is by blackmailing, because that's what he did. He had Clinton there like 26 times and everything, and a bunch of other people, right? So they're saying, hey, the ends justify the means. We need to blackmail these people, right? And therefore, we're serving kids up on platters.
See, my whole thing with that is that's wild, because it's like, blackmail whom? Like, are we talking about just like, because the majority of the people that was on that list was just celebrities. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like world leaders and stuff like that. So is it more of like the sense of like trying to like control like the narrative around them and having them continue to behave the way that they're behaving, continue to push like quote unquote narratives or yada yada yada?
It could be, but like, I don't think we got the full list. I don't think we got the full list whatsoever. Okay. I think is it kind of like the same idea where people like, there's no like list of billionaires for sure, because it's like people don't want you to know how much money they really have. Well, there might be like trillionaires out there, who just aren't on the list.
Really?
Like the Saudi Arabians. The guys in charge of Saudi Arabia, the royal family, Putin. When it really comes down to it, when these people control,
I heard this one thing about Putin where it's like he owns everything in Russia. Basically, like he's literally just allowing people to have salaries, he's allowing people to have houses, stuff like that.
It really sounds like a mafia system out in Russia, where he's just the head honcho, and all the oligarchs are his, the people that
That's true. When people like try and push back or like, no, I won't sell this land, it's like, all right. Now you'll have nothing. You'll have zero.
Exactly. And I think China is like the most extreme example of that, like, mafia kind of organization, because they'll have billionaires just, and in America, billionaires do whatever they want.
See, because of like, it matters here. Status matters and stuff. Money matters, things like that, in comparison to other places where it's more like, sure, you're super famous, but it's like, you're gonna say something that deviates from what I'm telling the people. All right, let's see what really happens then. No, that's why like journalism there is like a complete fucking joke. Oh my god, it's bad. It's to the point where it's like, it's not even just the hiding things that's wild, because it's like you can only hide so much. It's more of the, when you suppress the stuff you don't want people to see, and then you enhance everything that you actually do want people to see. So there's this one idea that I was thinking on recently. So I feel like a lot of people's like held beliefs aren't really their own held beliefs, and they're holding those beliefs because of other people. They think that other people also believe those same things. Like, there was a study that came out where people went down south, right? And they were like, they asked, it was like, hey, do you think that we should continue to have these segregation laws, these Jim Crow laws, And it came out where it was like majority of them didn't actually want those laws, but they only kept those type of laws in because they thought that everybody else was like, I'm with it.
And was this during the Jim Crow era and everything?
I think it was like closer to the end. They were saying that it would have ended a lot sooner. The rules and stuff like that would have ended a lot sooner if they believed that everybody around them actually believed that too.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
But what's up, y'all? It's your host, Sensei NK. Back in another episode. I'm not with my co-host, but I'm with
Bryan Leconte. Nice to meet y'all. Yeah. See y'all again for sure.
Of course. Now you can just see his face. It's just clear and just, it's just a great time.
Fantastic.
how are you doing? What is new with your life since the last time I've seen you?
Bro, I'm doing well. Mm-hmm. Life is moving in a positive direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I'm deep into jiu-jitsu now again, and making.
Why is it with everyone once they start doing jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like a cult?
I think,
and it engulfs your life like easily.
It's tribal. I think it's very tribal. I think as people, like as human beings, we're supposed to be connected to suffering and everything.
What do you mean by that?
And I think suffering is part of the human condition.
Oh, okay.
I think people are happiest, right? Or they're in that mindset when they're not worried about a bunch of like frivolous first world problems. They're worried about like, hey, I'm worried about my family. I'm going to love my family. I'm going to get food for my family. And in that food, trying to get food and trying to protect them, there's going to be struggle. And I think people find purpose in the struggle and in like loving their family. I think that's what being a human is all about. And that's why I related to jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu can get very primal in a sense, you know?
Isn't it just trying to like stop the other person from hurting you? And that's like the basis of it?
It's like there's like a gentleman's agreement, right?
Oh, okay.
Or a gentlewoman's agreement. Everybody over where I train like trains together and everything. And you get to the point where you wrap your arm around somebody's neck and you're squeezing and they tap out. And they tap out because they can't resist anymore. And if, you know, you wanted to, you would have killed them, you know?
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of like anxiety and stress that goes when like you're going up against somebody who's like much better than you and you're trying to survive and you're trying to move in this direction or that. And they're so skilled, it's like they're speaking a language on a whole nother level. You know, you're a caveman, Ooga Booga, and he's, really good. I was trying to think of Gore Vidal or whatever. I couldn't think of his name, so I just said whatever.
One thing I hate about jiu-jitsu is like you could set yourself up. Like the person that you're fighting against can set you up to sell the bag so crazy, and you don't even know it for real. Like this whole like chess game of it is the part that pisses me off the most. Like, let's say when you're like grappling with them, right? And then like they get you in a position, and then your instinct is to like move like this to like get off them. But once you move like this, then you just made it worse for yourself.
Exactly.
Just because you're trying to act on instinct instead of what you've learned.
Exactly. I have a great coach. This guy, Moody, he's a great coach over at Pure Vita. And he always talks about doors, right? Every time I move, I open up doors of opportunity for him to like attack me in a different way. And he'll cycle through submission after submission after submission. And if I move another way, it's exactly what you're saying, you know?
Oh, wow.
And it's chess. It's violent chess. But when it comes down to why jiu-jitsu is a cult, I think it's because it gets so close to like the core of what we are as humans. You know? We're in a tribe and we're violent, but we decide that we're gonna work our butts off, right? This is the only martial art where you can really go 100% all the time. You can't do that in boxing, or you're trying to turn your brain into mush. You can't do that in kickboxing, right? But in jiu-jitsu, because you're not striking people in the head, you're giving 100%. You're going as hard as you can. You're on the brink of death, literally, and then you guys tap out and get back into it. So that bond, you know, that you get and that experience, I think is very different, and that's why it becomes.
What's the craziest that you've seen someone just get their shit just folded in jiu-jitsu? Yeah,
the worst, like personally,
can you like
or
slam people?
It depends on the tournament. The tournaments that I do are lower level, and there aren't any slams allowed.
Why? But, is it because like you don't know what you're doing and you'll actually hurt this person?
Yeah. Like if you look at grappling industries, there's like a whole list of submissions that you can do, and my list at white belts is much smaller than the other list. I can't even do heel hooks, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a bad one. You grab somebody's knee with your legs and you hold it tight, and then you twist their ankle upside down. And if you twist somebody's ankle while their knee is locked in, their knee explodes. All the ligaments are gone and everything is terrible. Bro, I got to show you a video. Mikey Musumeci, right? He's this Italian kid. He's the nerdiest guy you'd ever think. You wouldn't understand that. You would never look at him and think, oh, this guy is one of the most dangerous men in the world.
But for some reason, he has those ear things
on. Yeah. And I'll tell you about his diet later. But he went up against this Mongolian dude, and Mikey Musumeci is the best leg locker in the world, basically. And this Mongolian dude, I think he's Mongolian. I don't know if I got the flag wrong, but he never tapped to the heel hook. So he got his kneecap like rearranged, lost like LCL, MCL, ACL. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. It blew up the whole like jiu-jitsu community. They're like, how is this guy not tapping? Is he really flexible? No, he was in a cast after, and he's probably never going to be the same. It was a really bad situation. Yeah.
Oh wow.
If you get hit with the heel hook or you get caught in a heel hook, you tap immediately.
Just immediately?
Immediately. But I'll tell you, that Mikey Musumeci guy, one of the best athletes on the planet, diet consists of nothing but pasta and pizza. He eats once every 24 hours, and it's just a ton of pasta and a ton of pizza.
You know what? The best thing that I've ever done myself is the whole just eating once a day and then just like letting it go.
Intermittent fasting,
bro. Because like you can just literally eat so much and you'll be chilling. You'll just vibe.
Yeah.
And especially like when you like. So I've noticed when people every time you eat, you just want to sleep like immediately because I think it's like ghrelin. Okay. Something like that is the thing that acts on you when you want to sleep, right? Yeah. So when you eat it, you get a huge rush of that. So I realized the best way to be productive is just don't eat. When you're working, just don't eat. And just like slowly, because I feel like we're eating so much now and so often that you're not getting your body a chance like really reset off that shit.
I completely agree with you on that. I was bulking for like 3 years in a row and everything. And when it came down to it, it takes energy for our body to metabolize food. Okay. And I think that goes exactly into what you're saying. It's like our body's constantly not able to catch up. Okay. We're just constantly digesting and we're falling asleep. Okay.
Being the fact that you are a health nutritionist, would you describe yourself as that? Going towards that type, or is it more because
I'm super interested in nutrition. I'm going toward physical therapy, but I'm super interested in nutrition.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. So as you do physical therapy and stuff like that, have you got a chance to like intern and actually like work with people yet? Okay, what is one of the things that you notice about their movements that's just wrong?
A lot of times you can tell just how stiff somebody is when they're walking. You know? And what's messed up is when your hips are really stiff and your muscles are really weak, there's a lot more exertion on your knees. Okay.
I mean, don't you have to like, it has to pick up the slack because there's weak spots.
Exactly. Your knees take the slack because everything is tight and weak. And if you had stronger hamstrings and quads and calves and tibialis anterior, like you'd be able to move properly and not use your knees just like crutches, you know, they get jacked up.
One of the most bullshit exercises that people do, like when they tell me about like working, I was like, hey, how can I get stronger leg? And then I see them doing like the seated leg extensions, and then you push up with your legs. I hate that shit so much because I be watching these people put 5, 6 plates on it, and they just hit that mug for like 20, 30 times, right?
I see what you're saying.
And then I'm like, all right. Let's squat, and they can't squat 225. What are you doing? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, because if it's like your actual like body is just so weak because you're not actually doing real movements, and I feel like that's people's problem. They don't be people for real.
Yeah, no, and that's the interesting part of leg press, right? Because you're not really engaging your core anywhere near you are with the squat, right? And I bet you the reason they can't do the 225 is their back just folds.
Exactly.
They might have built up some leg strength, but
Do you have nice like? Do you think that you've worked out not to your peak, but like, do you think you're gonna continue to like really hit it? Do you think you're still going up?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I'm gonna keep trying to jack up like get as jacked as I can. Not as jacked as I can. Try and get as athletic as I can. Okay. In a sense, but I shouldn't have said that. How do I say this? I want to keep progressing forward. I'm never going to reach my peak because I'm not going to dedicate my life to like peak athleticism and everything, but I want to keep moving in that direction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I feel that. The reason why I bring that up, do you think that you're going to start taking testosterone when you get to like, when do you think you're going to start taking it? If you are.
I will. I honestly want to hop on gear at 30 years old.
Really?
Yeah, because you know, you move up through puberty. You're basically on gear when you're going through puberty, right? Yeah. Your body's just being hit by all these hormones. Yeah. You're getting pimples everywhere. You're finally getting hairy, which is what happens when you take testosterone. You got grown men who get like pimples and they get even hairier because they hop on it. But your testosterone naturally goes up, and then you kind of plateau, and then right around like 27, 30, 35, it starts dipping down. Okay. And I'm thinking at 30, I'm going to have taken care of my body very well. Ideally, I'll be a high belt in jiu-jitsu. And then I'll just skyrocket
Just keep going up?
Yeah. So this is my life, plateaued. And then right as I'm going to start to dip for like, I don't know, maybe 5 years and everything, I'll hop on some stuff and go, and I'll be peaked out. Maybe instead of like,
what makes you want to do it then? Like, you don't feel like it's weird or anything like that?
No. I think it's, especially for like older dudes, it's a great idea. I think one of the best things you and I have going for us is that our endocrine system is working properly. You know, we have testosterone flowing through our bones or our bodies, and that helps us build muscle. You know? And that in turn makes it so that we're not gonna like tear a hamstring doing like, the smallest thing. It keeps our libido up high. It helps with focus. It helps with everything. And it is going to be unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, right, that people do lose testosterone as it goes. Andrew Huber, you know who Andrew Huber is? Yeah. Freaking love the dude. But he was talking about how testosterone actually triggers your body to want to exert itself.
Okay.
Yeah. That as a hormone, it actually makes rewards you for working hard.
And that's not just some red pill shit that people be talking about?
No.
Really?
I think, I the reason I love listening to him so much is that he is like a neuroscientist at Stanford.
He's not an idiot like a lot of, that's fair. That's
like,
fair. I feel that.
When, like they'll use terms like some meatheads or like more bro science guys will be like, oh, your body's in like starvation mode and everything, when you're not eating and you're like, oh, I gotta hunt. Like, who's going to be the better, hunter? The guy who's a full belly or the guy who's hungry? And, it's like you hear about stuff like that. You're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But if there's not hard science behind it, if you don't have a guy like Andrew Huberman going like, you got this, I'm not going to just buy into it.
The most interesting things about testosterone, I realized the best way to make your shit peak is not by the food you eat. It's not by the sleep. It's by none of that, right? It's about winning. There's nothing that feels better than winning. And I feel like that's what a lot of people like. That's why their testosterone just like drops so like viciously when they get older, stuff like that, because they're not taking as many wins. Like I remember, I don't know what study it was, but they went and tested testosterone of like a CEO and then the person that was working, right? And all the CEOs had just a lot more testosterone than all the workers. They're like, okay, let's try this. Let's try switching this role. They would go and they did this other study where they had people with like giving orders and the other person taking orders. And then once they switched it, their testosterone switched as well. Even in such like a short amount of time, when you're being like just like constantly berated and speak down upon, I feel like that has like such like an effect on a person's body that they don't even peep. So I feel like the best way is just like not constantly just spitting game, but just like constantly like just taking like little W's just every single day. I think that's the best thing for people.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know how. I've heard something similar to that before, but it's like I said, it's like
damn your bro science.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's bro science because so much of bro science turns out to be true sometimes.
Isn't it just like dumb people explaining it away? You just explaining it out.
But it's like because it's like where do you get knowledge from, right? Do you get it from a bunch of scientific studies, or do you get it from doing it yourself? Because what you're talking about, I hear it. I'm like, that sounds. It
logically makes sense.
I think a great example of that is mind-muscle connection, right? A lot of people would say like, oh, you got to feel it in your muscle. You got to feel it in your muscle. And I've always thought, okay. But it turns out there's a lot of science to that.
What do you feel it in your muscle?
You focus, like, let's say you're doing bicep curls. You focus on the mind-muscle connection with the bicep curls. And there are legitimate studies that show that when you focus on it and not just moving the weight.
Like when you're focusing on the bicep?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You get better results and everything. Yeah.
Is it because you're like constantly like tightening? Or like you're like genuinely working on it instead of mindlessly working on it?
I guess so. But when you focus,
Okay.
And apparently like the opposite is true for strength. If you have like an Olympic lifter, they're supposed to be more focused on just moving the weight than they are to be like, all right, I'm feeling it in my hamstrings and my glutes.
Because now you're really thinking about how heavy this 1,000 pounds
exactly.
your head is, bro.
Instead of being like for my country and everything.
Bro, insane. One of the things that I don't really regret it, but I wish that I took like athletics more seriously because I feel like even my menial workouts and stuff like that, right? I started working out with like some of the football players at my school, right? And when I tell you, I'm just getting ripped after one workout. Yeah. And I'm like, how does that happen? I've been working out for like 2 months straight, right? And I just do a workout with y'all one time and my body just genuinely just feels better. That's crazy.
Do you think that's like a tribal like group winning thing? Because I want to get back to the whole like winning being, because if that's something you believe, how in your life are you trying to like catch W's so that you naturally move up your own testosterone?
Oh, for me personally, the way that I get these little W's, I feel like when I get stuff done immediately, I feel that's just a little W. When I say hi to that one girl that I wasn't going to say hi to, that's a little W. And just like things like that.
Interesting.
Because if it's like... it's not those constant affirmations that you're doing a good job, but it's just like the fact that those little things are just happening. It's like, wow, since I did these 10 things and it's only noon, I've done 10 great things already. Imagine what could I do by the time it's like 4 p.m. So yeah, just keep doing stuff like that.
That's very interesting to me. Would you say, right, like let's say you do a workout and you're trying to get a 6-minute mile, you get a 6-minute and 15-second mile. So you kicked ass, right? You got up, you ran a mile. That's something very few people on the planet do. Right? It takes a lot of mental toughness. Would you say that testosterone
would drop because I didn't hit the 6 on the dot?
Yeah.
I mean,
like, is it all like relative to your perception?
Yeah, I feel like it's all relative, like to myself. Because personally, if I went and ran at all, I won the day. I won. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is for me. Because it's so hard to wake up and work out. Holy shit! I try my best. I think I'm gonna start like really running again because I feel like I was in the best shape while I was out in DC, and I didn't get a gym while I was out there, so I was just running all the time.
Wow. Okay.
So I ended up getting like 5 miles in, 6 miles. I think one time I hit like 10. And I was like, I hate running with everything in my heart. So it's like, how was I able to just do that? So just the more that I was working on it, and I feel like I was feeling the best ever.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine while you were in DC, you were around a lot of hyper successful people. Right?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that elevated?
It's more like while out in DC, I feel like if you weren't trying to conquer the world, you're a bitch, bro. Why go home if that's not why you're here for? Because I feel like there's a certain type of narcissism that comes from choosing to go live in like
in a hub like that.
And it's not even like a New York or an LA or like a going down to Texas, right?
Other hubs,
But with DC, it's something different. Because you're going there to work. You can't just like, oh, I like the nightlife. Oh, I would like to raise my kids or anything like that. No, you're going there to work.
I hear you on that.
That's the whole thing of it. Motherfuckers out there are so rich. Holy fuck.
Right, that's the richest per capita spot in the whole country. In the richest country in the world.
Yeah, no, everybody's making 100 bands. That's literally it. And if you're not, you're kind of homeless, not going to lie to you.
That's tough.
It's a sick world. Yeah, most definitely. Oh, when you interact with people that are making a lot of money, how do you like perceive them? Do you treat them better because they're having a lot of money?
Because they have a lot of money?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like winning at life, right, is completely relative to. It's like what we were saying, like W's are relative, right? So I don't know. That's a difficult question. It depends on like how they're making money. Because like in my personal life, I aspire to make a lot of money. That's something that I look up to a lot. So when I see somebody who makes a lot of money, there is a little bit of admiration I have for them, and I do want to be like, hey, how'd you do this? You know?
Yeah. So it's more about like the work itself than actually like the money?
Yeah, I'd probably say so. Say so.
Okay.
You know?
See, one thing that I've learned in my life, people show you how to treat them by the way that they move, right?
Interesting.
And I find it funny when people don't realize that they're just like, the energy that they're giving off naturally makes me want to take advantage of you.
Interesting.
And it's like, it's not even on some like manipulative stuff, right? I feel like that's the way like everyone just moves generally, just like generally. Because the assumptions you make of people, I feel like that goes into so much on the way that you're interacting with them in the first place.
Yeah. And then I want to get onto that, but I also want to go back to the point about like the whole idea of like testosterone going up and down, or the relativity of like W's and everything. There's a quote that says like if you surround yourself with 4 winners, right, you're gonna be the 5th winner.
By force.
And me and one of my best friends, we have a difference in philosophies. I think I should surround myself with winners. He very much likes to be the top dog in his group. What is best, do you think, like to constitute you being the best? Because if we're talking about catching W's, and
I mean,
you remember the whole leader of the friend group thing?
Yeah. I mean, like being the big fish in a small pond is kind of like, I don't want to say it's damaging, but it's like if you don't have that level of pushing yourself to be like actually lit for real, I feel like that'll make you will. If you want to go far, you go with a team. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But you can't never go as far as you can by yourself without the team, right?
Yeah.
So him moving by himself is not giving him enough chance to learn from the people around him, right? assuming that's the way that he's living his life. And then when you are like the guy in a group, you don't get a chance to really sharpen your own iron because of you're just bluntly just better than everyone around you, right? In comparison to when everyone else is like better than you or like more hardworking or whatever it is, right? And now you're looked at as like, all right, bro, you're being lame for being the last in the group because why are you the last in the group? You should be able to try to like, you can't be third to last, like bro, pick one, bro.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I think the best way to move is because I personally like to be like the one that's not doing the least per se, but like has to work up.
I hear you.
Because of like, sure. When I do kick around motherfuckers that are like would classify me as the quote unquote big dog, it's like it's not that you's a bitch, but it's like it's not the laziness. It's not that you're lazy. It's like your vibe is not that it's off, but it's lacking.
Yeah.
And the places that you could set me up isn't that high because you can't set yourself up that high either. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I feel like every like relationship there is a give and take in all of them. If it's not like sexual or it's like platonic, like the friends wise or like business wise and stuff like that. And then with a lot of friend groups, a lot of friends, they don't realize it's all of them. It's all those things. And it's like if you're surrounding yourself around people that can't make you money, it's like or can't set you up to go and make you money. It's kind of wild because it's like we've reached that age where it's like, if I'm 22 and just broke, that's insane as fuck. And I'm not working towards being a serious-minded individual, that's crazy. You're grown. You can't always just not be serious. That's insane.
I hear you on that.
Because unserious people are they're the bane of my existence. Because why are you selling our bag like this? That's the way I see it. Why are you selling our bag?
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, I'm going to have to put some thoughts off to the side so I don't lose them. But is that grind perpetual, right? Because I do look at you as a very focused and motivated person, right? And as you continue in your life, you're going to get to a point where it's like Grant Cardone talking about $400,000 is unacceptable and everything. You're going to get to a point where the guys you think are you're trying to strive to, you're above that, you know? And then you're going to get to another point, like let's say millionaire, being worth 5, and then it's 10, and then it's 50, you know? And now you're looking at the people who $400,000 or $1 million. You're like,
see here, but that's the thing. I will never look at someone as less just because they have less money. Because I feel like then you're just playing a game of dick measuring, and like, especially with men, the game of dick measuring can get so dangerous.
Absolutely,
because of how men naturally just put ourselves in a hierarchy. I mean, men and women both just naturally put each other in hierarchies. But the thing about men is they will genuinely treat you different. And it's not some backhanded stuff. No, they're like, no, you are my bitch now because of you are less than me. And now you will believe you're less than me. And now you will fall in line.
Exactly.
And I feel like when you're playing that game, it's like, all right, now you can't have friends for real. Exactly. You just can't have friends. Because if you're just like constantly like just, and then it turns into like preying on niggas' downfalls,
and that's where it gets
like,
toxic. That's where it gets toxic.
That's crazy.
And that's why it goes right back to the quote we were talking about before. You know, as my history teacher said the exact same quote that you had just said. It's like, if you want to go far, you go together, right? If you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But obviously in reverse order and everything. You can't be doing that if you're constantly just being like, oh, I got to be the best in this and that and that and that.
And then
you know?
I feel like it gets to a point where it's like, what I wanted when I was 15 is different than what I want now.
Facts.
And when what I wanted 6 months ago is different than what I want right now. And I feel like the fact that I can just naturally change so much to look to the future, like when I'm 40, am I gonna still be trying to like grind the same way that I'm trying to grind now? No, I want to chill.
Well, it depends.
Personally, I'm lazy. That's me.
So we talked about this a while ago, right? And a very a controversial figure, so I won't say his name, was giving some advice, right, on how if somebody like aspires to like be on the beach, right, with the pina colada, you know. That's not the aspiration. I think you're going to get there and you're going to be like, nah, I got to get back to it. I think innately you're a type A person. And even when you get to the beach, you're going to be like, I should have a yacht right now. And you keep going. You know, you're gonna look out. You're gonna be like, dang, like, you know, wife, kids, like, it's a good time. You know what?
But let me at least get to that point first. Yeah. Let me test that out because personally, I feel like if I ever get to when I get to the point of like I'm making like 200 bands, the thing is, I don't even want to make like 300 bands, 400 bands, things like that. It's more like I would be so cool off of just 200 bands, right? Okay. And then everything else is literally just so I can say, oh yeah, no, I make 500 a year. And it'll be 500 bands a year. That's literally it.
But it depends. Me and my brother were talking about how we want to go to the World Cup next time it comes around. You know? How many people can just go to Qatar and go to the World Cup?
Just go do jokes?
You know, exactly. To do jokes, you know? Yeah. I had one of my friends actually got to go out there, and I was so freaking happy for him, you know? But somebody in his family was like sacrificing and making, you know, what they had to do, doing what they had to do so that he had that opportunity. He's like 22, 23 years old. You know, he didn't have the money to just go out there. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think we're going to keep striving that direction. And that's why.
We'll just want more, bigger things?
Yeah, because I think it's just freedom to kind of do what we want, you know? Because I don't think I have really that much interest in going to the Met Gala. But it might be cool to go to the Met Gala.
Just jokes.
But and then, you know, on the point of like the whole like dick measuring contest that goes on, I feel like
first, do you do that naturally? Do you think?
No, and I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed.
You should. You really should.
That I've been able to like surround myself. This is the best I've ever been at this, right? With people who just aspire to be good, and also deeply support me. You know? And I aspire to be good, and I deeply support them. You know, even in like Instagram comments and everything. I took this from a lot of my female friends. I'll like hype up my dudes in the Instagram comments all the time. You know, I'm like, looking great, poppy. You feel me?
It's both slices. Yes.
I think, you know, what's his name, Ziz or whatever. We're all gonna make it. I think that's the mindset we should have. You ever heard of Ziz before? He was, I missed his era. He died, unfortunately, before I even knew about him. But he was this big-time fitness influencer from Australia. And just the quintessential, like, Chad and everything. It was hilarious. I think he just went a little bit too crazy with, like, the gear and everything. He just, I think he was in his early 20s.
You just died from that shit?
You just died. He was even big, though. Some people, they get to, like, 300 pounds of pure muscle at 25, and that's when you just...
Their brain just like...
I don't know what happened to him exactly, but he had a quote. It was like, we're all going to make it, boys. You know, we're all going to make it. And I was like, yeah, that's how it should be.
Of course.
I also wanted to ask you, right? So we talk about surrounding yourself with people who like want to be winners and want to be great and everything. And I've had this disagreement with a friend of mine. Is I say, everybody around me, I want to be people who aspire for greatness and all these different things. I don't think everybody has to do that. But like the people who I surround myself with, my best friend, that's what I want to do. For him, it's only men, right? That he surrounds himself with people who like want to be great.
So he only sticks around with men that are like striving.
Yeah, but he has plenty of female friends who have no like goals or aspirations in that direction whatsoever. Yeah.
Is it at least do they just want to be pretty? Is that what it is?
Yeah. There, a lot of them are very beautiful and everything. And
real quick,
so I gotta ask you about that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have learned being attractive is hard as shit.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's so hard, bro.
Yeah.
So, do you know how hard it is? I feel like it's easier to run a company than to be attractive for 27 years. That is my take. That is my take. Because let's be serious. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
Not even on the point of like, not even on the trends shit, right? Yeah. It's the fact that your body is a trend. And you have to keep up. So if your body falls out of trend, now you're unattractive. That's insane. Yeah. That is insane. Yeah. And the constant work of trying to stay not even just in shape, but like to stay desirable, I feel like it's a genuinely hard thing. But that is beyond the point. That is beyond the point. Sounds like misogyny. Well,
that's the thing. That's the thing. And like I try not to like use that word like too aggressively, right? I think people overuse misogyny, people overuse racism, but it's like white when it comes down to,
I think white women ruined misogyny for me.
Yeah. You ever seen the Bill Burr like SNL sketch talking about? It's tough. they really try to hop on board. You know, they really try to hop on board.
Yeah, no, it's.
But yeah. So I wanted to ask you because I think a lot of guys they say like, oh, I only surround myself with winners.
And then, it's just niggas, just men.
Yeah, they tailor their friend groups to be like just men. Like there are like a lot of women I talk to who are like role models of mine and everything, you know, and they do aspire to be greater in a lot of aspects of their life.
In what aspects?
Whether it's fitness or career wise or starting a family.
Is fitness and being attractive not one and the same?
It depends. I have a friend trying to be a strongman right now. And he's eating a lot of food.
Okay.
You know, he's eating a lot. I got friends who are powerlifters. And they eat a lot of food,
bro. You know? Hug a powerlifting friend, bro. Their job is hard, bro.
Yeah.
Just lift like, again, heavy again.
If they would like take that focus toward bodybuilding and everything, then I think there would be a lot of crossover. Okay. But at the higher levels of bodybuilding, you get to a point where there's a point of diminishing return.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You get to a certain level of jack, right? You get to Chris Evans, who's like, whoa. And when you get to Chris Bumstead, you know, a lot of people look at him. Chris Bumstead's the best bodybuilder in the world. He does classical physique.
Mr. Strong?
No, Olympia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think he won 3 times in a row.
Christ.
But to all my like lifting bro friends and everything, he's Jesus. They love him. They'll do impressions of him all the time. The guy's like a little bit of a lisp and everything. He has a bunch of quotes, and I know all his quotes from them. I don't even watch the dude. Shout out C-Bum, cool dude. But I don't even watch the dude, and he's a legend. But he's so jacked that I think, generally speaking, you know, my mom would say this all the time. She's like, Bryan, don't get too big or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's going to look terrible. And I was like, at some point, I had to be like, oh, yeah. There's a point of diminishing your return. You can't just keep getting bigger, especially if you're not super tall, because you just get wider.
Just look like a circle at that point.
You just look short. You just look short.
Just shorter.
Yeah, I'm growing wider, and that's it. So yeah, to your question with the fitness being in line with being more attractive and more desirable, not always.
Okay. Not always. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But when we're talking about fitness, I feel like they're not thinking of Mr. Strongman. But that is beyond the point. That is beyond the point.
It depends.
Wait, so do you not think being an IG model is hard?
There are different kinds of hard. For sure. I don't know. Okay. I don't want to shit on IG models. I'm sure a lot of them are grinding, right? And it might be very difficult. Like, let's say they're insecure, right? It would be an incredibly hard career, right, for an insecure person to show almost every inch of their body online all the time.
I feel like being attractive naturally makes you insecure because once you're. Because when your whole thing is that I'm attractive, you notice every single thing about you that's becoming less and less attractive.
I can see how that would be a trap.
So you're just in a constant spiral, basically. Because of it's like what? Don't you start looking? You start looking worse for men. It's like what?
Body
28
for men. That's a controversial topic for when men hit their peaks and women hit their peaks. This is a very controversial.
And then as women, that's not my business. With women, that's my own business. That's all I can say about that. But for men, it's like to 28 or stuff like that. You
could be.
You don't get more. You start making more money.
I don't know. I might be delusional, but when I
do you think the average person stays in shape past 28?
The whole average person. I don't want to look at the averages. America is becoming I don't want to look at American averages as far as what a person goes to. But no, most people don't keep in shape. I know a lot of people who hit their athletic peaks at 18, because they just stopped playing high school sports and they started picking up drinking, I know a lot of dudes who were just shredded and then beer bellies 6 months into college.
Me personally, I don't even. That's one of my biggest fears. Why I don't think I'll ever stop working out because I feel like one day I'll just wake up and I'll be like, this is just. Well, I think with my face just bloats, and now it's that's crazy. My hands are fat now just because I'm eating too much and not in the gym. No, I'm not letting that slide, bro.
But it's all kinds of things that get messed up, when you do, put on too much weight. But that's half of it, right? Not even half of it, because it's what's going on the inside that's
even worse.
Yeah, but I think working out is so important for somebody's mental health and everything.
Oh, yeah,
I think people should work out all the time, no matter what. I think anybody who takes their mental health seriously should be taking fitness seriously.
I mean, yeah, that's the best way to like regulate your body.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And I think if America like wanted to say, hey, like we do take mental health seriously, we would have to try and promote a culture of working out, not toxic working out where you're like constantly looking at Instagram, comparing yourself. Like good working out, I'm gonna get my cardio in. I got a lot of friends who just drink and lift weights and they look good, but on the inside, it's like their liver's dying.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah.
When was Reagan?
Reagan was the 80s. Early 80s or late 80s? I think early, because there was one or two presidents between him and the 90s fellas. Yeah.
Someone got to jump. I hope he gets jumped when he's in hell. Personally, I hope he gets jumped, bro. Because literally everything got worse after his head, bro. That's so wild, bro. Bro, America, we had like you had to work out because they're getting ready for the war.
No, 80s was Cold War, so we weren't even really, as far as I know, I could be wrong with this. We weren't really getting after it. I think in the 80s, it was Cold War stuff. Yeah,
when was the
World War?
When is Vietnam?
Vietnam was 70s.
It was 70s?
Yeah, 70s. That's when all like fortunate
70s and then 80s. Yeah. Okay. So during the 70s, they had this time. I learned this in one of my health classes where it was like everybody was working out. Like there was like dedicated time because it was like, well, we might just go to war. Everyone needs to be in shape. We need bodies. So you just see everyone's just in shape. Everyone was eating well. And then Reagan said, yeah, no, I don't. So let's just start.
What did Reagan do with that?
Let's start cutting that.
He cut back like
cut back on food for like lunch and stuff like that. He cut back on exercise. He cut back on fucking I think he removed the cap. The wealth cap, I think, he moved the
he cut a lot of taxes. He was a very libertarian.
He did do that, but
that's pretended to be very libertarian.
Well, what's it called? They had like a maximum salary that you can have, right? And then after that, you got taxed the hell out of. I think it was like after like $500K, or I think it was a lot less actually.
But he might have. I know he cut the taxes. I don't think there was a salary cap at that point. I think. Do we have a salary cap? I remember hearing about
Teddy Roosevelt put in a salary cap. I know that one for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that one for sure.
I wasn't sure if we ever had a salary cap. I remember hearing about. I have like socialist friends who would tell me like, oh yeah, America was at its peak like in the 50s or like not the 30s, like in the 50s when we had all these unions. You know? We had a lot of stuff going on. But it's interesting.
No, that's me and Teddy. That's my nigga. That's my nigga, bro. Right next to Obama, bro.
That's a wild boy for sure. Like Teddy Roosevelt.
Bro, what? Yeah. He was so serious. So serious. And I feel like with Reagan, he went and just fucked everything. Housing was more expensive. Yeah. People just started taking advantage of other people.
It was a drug running. That was worse. I'm not even up on it right now. I wish I was still up on all the facts.
Who was they selling drugs to?
I think it was
like on some snowfall shit. That's
they were funneling drugs like into black communities and everything. But it was a whole thing where he needed money for something and Congress wouldn't give him money. So I think he was selling drugs or weapons to. It had to do with the Middle East and South America and America.
That was a triangle. Yeah, it was a triangle. I know. It was like,
exactly. And I wish I was up on the knowledge.
Oh my god!
But he that ass turned into a mafia boss, and it was crazy. It's crazy. And I feel like as time goes on, because to Republicans, like Ronald Reagan was like Jesus, and as time goes on, and we find out more and more what he did,
literally, I feel like everything bad keeps coming back to Reagan. And that is insane. That is insane.
It's almost all the presidents. I don't know if any presidents are going to when it all comes down to it, who has like an overall good record.
You can't have a good record in this. Bro,
it's tough.
Being a president sounds like the worst job ever. Like not even like having to appease like the big companies and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's on like, kind of like, for example, for Obama, where it was like, motherfuckers out here just bombing random Syrians and motherfuckers like
surgical drone strikes.
Just bombing them just to get a guy. He won't live that down. He will always have that stain.
But how did he I'm so interested in how they go from being like regular people, like citizens, to doing that.
What do you mean?
I think about Barack Obama and Donald Trump, right? Two guys who just did a ton of drone strikes. If like let's use Donald Trump specifically, he was like in his 70s, right, when he became president. So the first 70 years of his life, did he kill anybody? Because he was responsible for a lot of deaths after that. You know, after he became president. Like, imagine you go the first
a genocided angry motherfucker.
Imagine, bro, 70 years. A lot of people would be happy to live to 70, and then you become president, and it's like, yeah, we got to do this, and that. Are these people okay sleeping at night? Is Barack Obama's from the South Side of Chicago? You know, he was like and he was like trying to promote like civil rights. He was a lawyer and everything. He went to Harvard. How does somebody go from doing that to just bombing people? You know, waging war.
Just be a warmonger.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'll always cut slack to presidents because it's like you have to live that life. How would America look at Obama if he didn't do that? How would Americans look at Obama if Osama bin Laden never died?
That's the thing, man. It's
a bitch ass nigga. That's what they would look at him as.
I don't know. I don't want to sound too isolationist, but I feel as though America doesn't need to do as much like stuff as it does. Bro, overseas.
Bro. So you're telling me they don't have to keep third world countries third world?
Yes.
You think America could if Africa was able to make the money off their stuff? In like almost every situation, I do believe America would be better off if it wasn't meddling with other people. See, I feel like America would have been better off in the long term, but we've already started this. Once you start, you can't stop. Because I feel like the only reason why America's on top and always has been on top is because anytime there's been like something, anytime another country can like move up, for example,
Liberia or Libya, what's it? With Muammar Gaddafi, that was Liberia, right? I think it was Liberia.
I was gonna go Russia.
Russia?
I was gonna go Russia, but
yeah.
And they're going to just destroy, beat Russia, bro. You know, before I go down that path, the only reason why we aren't why communism is looked as bad as it is right now, because the way that America had to make communism look like objectively dumb option.
I'm so confused by in history, and that I want to learn more by is the outlook on communism and how it works.
Bro, communism not that. The thing that I was I was thinking about this for recently. So there was this presentation that I was at in DC where this dude was like, he was just like talking about how like trash communism is, how he couldn't eat, he was just always hungry, yada yada yada. Talking about communism like it's just this big 6'4" nigga that kept robbing him and his goddamn family. And I just kept thinking about, I was like, bro, why are you addressing communism as if it's a person? It's not a person, it's an idea, first of all. And then he was like praising capitalism, how capitalism is just so good, and yada, yada, yada. It can't fail. It's impervious. There's no other option.
So
here's the thing. If capitalism just doesn't fail, it just doesn't fail, there'll be no recessions. There'll be no reason for a recession.
Well, that's difficult because I'm not sure exactly how to.
The reason why recessions and depressions happen is because we're running too much on capitalism, and we can't buy the things anymore because it's too expensive now.
Well, like the market and markets in general is so complicated, right? So we talk about I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And it seems like one of the most important things you can do to become wealthy is to understand the tax code, right? So if we're talking about the invisible hand, right, and capitalism running the markets, but taxes is one of the most important things you can do to get wealthy. It sounds like there's some strings on that invisible hand, you know? So I don't think we have we have a market system in America, but we don't have a free market system. I don't know if we have anarchy capitalism.
I feel like
I don't think we have an anarcho-communist in here either.
What is that shit called? It's like some motherfucker called it post-capitalism or something like that. It's not that it's post-capitalism.
Crony capitalism, or
I mean, it's crony capitalism. But there's this one thing that they called it, where it's this capitalism that we're doing in America right now is just a caricature of what capitalism really is. Because there's so many motherfuckers that would fail, but the only reason why they haven't failed is because of the capitalism that we're running right now. Like the fact that motherfuckers were getting bailed out during the
2008.
the COVID.
Oh, you're talking about
2008 and COVID. The COVID relief.
Like 5 of the 7 big banks or some shit.
The motherfuckers that was making the most money, that was getting the most money, was not the people. They were getting chump change. So while y'all were twerking over those $200, $300, $2,000 here and there, there's people making real money. But that's just we just.
No, I hear you on that. Bernie Sanders had a great quote. You know, like when it came down to like recessions and like situations like that, it's socialism for the rich and like rugged individualism for all the poor people and everything. I don't think we have a fair system by any means, and I'm not sure if we would get it right if we had pure communism. I don't even think.
But here's the thing: pure communism. I feel like that's objectively wrong because it makes motherfuckers like children. You're just always just with your hand out to the motherfuckers to give you the shit. And I feel like that will sets the country up just to fail. That's kind of the reason why I don't want reparations to like really go out for real if they're not going to fix like the mental side of all the shit that happened. But that's
that's beyond. I gotta ask you. Me and Chin debate about this. I said his name. We can cut that out if need be. I don't know if he cares about this. I have a debate with a Nigerian friend all the time, right? And we talk about reparations and whether or not my Nigerian friend would get reparations, right? Because who sold the Africans to the Europeans to get on the boat? The West Africans. You feel me? So if it came down to it, would you give the ancestors, right, of somebody who sold slaves to Europeans reparations, right?
If you're giving reparations, yes, because I'm a nigga just like you. So what are you talking about?
But imagine, right? You're like, all right, so this group of people sold slaves, and this group of people sold slaves, right?
What makes you any different?
But we're gonna give reparations to this group. Not to mention Nigerians when they come to America, kill it. Of like all the demographics that come to America, I think Nigerians are educated, top 3 or top 2.
It's actually insane.
And Koreans and I think Indians who are just
fucking insane, bro.
Amazing group of people, you know. But also sold my ancestors into slavery, you know.
Bro, one of my biggest problems with the whole reparations conversation is like the only people that it will help is people like me and my own family, and it won't help motherfuckers that actually need it. You feel me?
What you mean?
Like, okay. Let's say how much are we giving them? How much are we gonna give them? They proposed a bill. It was like $236,000, right? In California.
One-time payment, or is it like
it's a one-time payment? You see how fucking stupid that shit is, bro? And the thing is, I don't even blame them. I don't blame them because you're telling me how many black people are in California?
Millions.
I'm gonna give millions of niggas. Hundreds of thousands of dollars every year again, like a paycheck. No, bro, no, I'm not letting that shit slide. So it's shit wild. But let's say you do give them a $235,000, right? What does that do? Like, I'm not gonna go buy a house.
I don't know.
You can't buy a house in California with $200,000. You can buy like a shitty one with like bad property value and shit like that. You can spruce it up. But the average individual doesn't know. They wouldn't know how to like use that money and like actually flip it and really make it into generational wealth for real.
Yeah. Well, I gotta ask you, because financial education just across the country is terrible. Right? I wouldn't say
set up that way,
but financially, that's what I was about to ask you. Do you think it's purposely? I don't think I'm super financially educated by any means. I read one book, I loved it, and now I look up YouTube videos every day. So I have no degrees or whatever in that. But do you think it's set up that way on purpose so that people stay broke?
So here's my thing. I feel like America only works if there's a lot of broke people. That's the only way that you could. Because like I feel like you can only sell the majority of the shit in America to broke and poor people. And it tends to keep them continuously poor. Kind of like,
I feel like if people had more money and they knew what to do with their money better, different businesses would just come up. You know, it's like McDonald's and everything. But I feel like people shouldn't be eating McDonald's all the time.
That's one of my problems with capitalism, because it sets you. There has to be poor people for capitalism to work.
I don't think so.
So you're telling me capitalism can work if they don't have poor people that work those companies. You think Amazon is still Amazon if they're paying the people that are actually putting shit together their value of their creating? I think because if they are, I don't think that's...
Amazon's probably $1 trillion company at this point. I know Apple is. I don't know if Amazon's got to the point. I think they can afford to pay their workers. Yeah. I think they don't because they want to make as much money as possible. I think they could afford to pay those workers.
And then it comes to the okay. So with capitalism, right? It's I'm going to hire you to work this land that I own to make more money than I'm going to give you. So the value of your work, I have to undercut you. That's how I make my profit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in and of itself, that's...
it's wrong?
It's not that it's wrong, but I feel like that's just like a quote unquote immoral way. It's immoral, built into capitalism in the first place.
Interesting.
You're just naturally taking advantage of someone else, right?
Interesting.
So I feel like
I don't know if you're taking advantage of somebody else, right? I think it's an agreement because you can't do shit with that land without their help. And they might not be able to feed their kids if they don't have that job. So there's a give and take. You're like, hey, I'd love to pay you $1 an hour. And he says, fuck you, I'd like to get 50. And you guys decide on 20, you know, somewhere decently in the middle, right? 20, 30, 40, whatever. Yeah.
And my whole thing is, I feel like it's naturally set up for you to have such little buying power for you to not even be able to set your own wages for real. And that's what I feel like one of the bigger problems with capitalism is.
Well, there's ways to leverage it though. It's fucked up. A lot of the like old school socialists in America were terrible people. One of the guys, he was I'm not messing this up, but he was like in Texas, and he'd be going around like killing immigrants and everything because we talked about like being able to negotiate, right? One of the great things about America is we have a bunch of immigrants who come through and they work a lot of jobs that we don't want to work. You know,
that's why we need them.
But so a lot of socialists would be like, hey, like we want to keep the wages up. And we can't have people coming in and just
and
be
then
like,
it brings it the ways.
Because he's like, I won't work for 20. I won't work for 20. And then some guy goes, I'll do it for 15.
Oh, yeah. What?
This is much better than where I was.
I'm getting $250.
Exactly. You know,
but I heard there's an econ problem where that was like the premise of the whole thing. It was just funny.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how negotiations would work in America if everybody was very financially educated. But if everybody in society was much more educated, I feel like more wealth would be created.
Yeah, no, it would help society. It would help society as a whole if everyone had money. Yeah. But it's like, I'll have less money if I give you more money. So, no.
I don't know because you do a lot of things that are good for your workers, and a lot of times it helps your business. Henry Ford gave people time off, and he cut their hours, and they turned out to be way more productive. He's like, oh, you're not malnourished. You have time with your kids. You actually want to work a little bit harder, you know?
Tea time was so people can get some caffeine into you and you just keep working.
And like I've worked like hard jobs before where like I'd be working in this one factory, or I'm doing like a carpentry job right now, and just after a while I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. And then after I eat a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I feel a lot better. So it's good that we have like lunches built into things, you know? So long story short, I feel as though financial education would probably make wealth for everybody more so, you know?
But I feel like you didn't need to break down so many walls before you even get there in the first place. And I feel like
walls. We all have YouTube, you know? Bro. I feel like so many people could just buy a book and our country would be so much better off, you know?
So you think it's on the people to set themselves up to understand it? Understand their stringent tax code that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's like a culture thing. I do believe a lot of it has to do with the culture and everything.
What if I made this one joke where it's like the reason why. Wait, hold on, let me think. Oh shoot. The reason why we have to tax the rich so much is because they keep finding out ways to not pay those goddamn taxes. Yeah. So now it goes and it fucks doctors that are actually paying the taxes and shit like that.
Well, the original like plan with taxes was to only tax the hyper wealthy. Nobody else was supposed to pay taxes. Now everybody pays taxes, you know. but who has the most tax breaks is the ultra wealthy.
Exactly, because you know how to make them break.
I don't know. Hey, the tax code is so complicated to the point where people
get a whole major in it. That's insane.
You have like Harvard like accountants and lawyers to like go through it And that's how Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates and all these other people, they avoid those taxes. So the whole deal with taxes in America completely got flipped. It was only supposed to be the ultra wealthy. Nobody else would say taxes. Now everybody pay taxes, and the ultra wealthy, get the most like tax breaks.
Because this form of capitalism is not real capitalism.
No, it's not
real.
But also, how complicated does a tax code need to be?
It shouldn't be complicated at all. That's my whole thing.
Couldn't you put it like in a 20-page book? Could you imagine? It's like, if you make this amount of money, you're taxed that much. If you make this amount of money, you're taxed that much.
Bro, here's 7%. You that's making $300 million this year. Here's a little bit more, bro.
Exactly.
But
who knows?
No, that's fair. That is fair. On another point, why do you think people are so like willing to follow a leader?
I think it's tribal.
Okay.
I think it's very tribal.
So do you think that goes into part why people are so like damn near head over heels for people like Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate and people like that? What do you think is appealing?
I think somebody like Andrew Tate or like a Donald Trump is a better example of a Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan he's one of those people who you hear him talk and he's constantly trying to like humble himself and everything. And he's also like a liberal hippie who does like DMT all the time and wants universal healthcare. Like, I feel like you got to put him in a different compartment. Than
I put them two on different sides. I understand Joe Rogan on two different sides of it.
Because you have somebody like Andrew Tate and he's like, I'm the top G. Like, you should worship me because I'm literally him. And Donald Trump's like, I'm him. You listen to like the strong man or whatever it's called. There's a whole like term for it. And like fascism and everything, where you go like, oh, that's like the leader, and it is to what you're saying, right? People idolize these people. I think it's tribal. People don't want to worry about whether or not they're safe. When they get afraid, they're like, oh my God, somebody just needs to take care of me and my family. And then you look to one of those guys who's like, yeah, I'm the best at everything. Yes. Listen to me. Everybody else is bad. I'm good. You're good. Let's do it. And people are like, oh, that's a simple message. I dig it. And that's how,
So what about Andrew Tate specifically do you think that people, because the reason why I bring this up, I remember seeing this one post where when he went to prison, I want to say allegedly he might go, he might not go to prison for all this stuff, right?
Yeah,
sex trafficking. He's a we'll talk about that in a bit, but that's a whole other part. But when they put him in prison, they were like, there was hundreds of niggas just in the street. Just marching,
in Romania,
about free top G, free top G, hundreds, damn near 1,000 and some change of grown ass men in the street marching like it was MLK. What is going on? So what about him do you think people just resonated so viciously with?
I honestly think it's probably different than the Trump situation, but it comes down to absolute confidence. I think a lot of people might be insecure. Okay. And then you look at somebody who sounds like they have zero insecurity whatsoever. I really that's like a short, simple answer to it, but I think he's just somebody who breeds complete confidence, and people are just like, oh, I'm gonna gravitate toward that guy because he says whatever he wants, and it seems like he can do whatever he wants, and I want to do whatever I want.
No, there's this he posted on his Twitter. This one cartoon artist was like making fun of him, and then he goes and he responds back. He's like, he says something on the lines of, does it make you happy that you are a failure of a man to the point where you can't even save your dying child because you're not making enough money?
Oh.
And then he was like,
did the guy have a dying child?
Yeah. Like he was like the kid,
foul.
The child was like sick because he couldn't afford the medicine and treatment and stuff like that. He was like,
Christ.
And he was like, I will pay for your child's medicine, his procedures, his everything. If you just apologize.
Yeah.
And that's so crazy. That's so crazy.
I've never even heard that. That's different.
That's insane. And and I feel like just being able to do things like that, I feel like men just like love that shit so much because they wish that they were able to do something crazy like that, and it would just make sense.
I think it's men and women alike. I think everybody wants to be able to like say like You know, because people get obsessed like Bridgerton, you know, and they get obsessed with kings and queens. When it comes down to it, what is a king? He's a dictator. Yeah. People don't like to talk about it, but a king is a dictator.
A dictator you fuck with, yeah.
Stalin was a king, you know? King George, you know, it's like, these are all dictators. And people don't want to look at it like that, but at the end of the day, it's, I think it's men and women who just want to be able to say, like, I can do whatever I want, you know?
Because honestly, the best feeling is being able to do whatever you want. That is, oh my God. Just, and people can feel it too. Because one of the things I've been saying recently, whatever I say just happens. And it's just been happening. And it's just a great life. This is a great life I am living recently.
No, absolutely.
But yes. It is wild. But what was the thing that you're saying in the beginning? You're talking about there's this one conspiracy about like.
Yeah, bro. It's a real fucked up conspiracy about whether or not Epstein was like an intelligence operative, right? Okay. So you think about, we have an ends justify means like idea with really powerful people, right? Okay. People who run the country. Yeah. They go, we're going to do a surgical drone strike. And it might be 90% civilian casualties, but that's how we're going to do it. And we would all agree that, like, murder is worse than, like, SA, but you kind of got to look at it in different categories because SA is just incredibly evil, you know? It's its own kind of evil. And I wonder
that is true.
If there are people who would say the ends justify the means, I need to completely control somebody. Because there's no coming back from somebody having a video of you like messing with a kid. Like there's that's like we understand that that's just a different kind of evil, you know? Because even though like murder might be like worse when it comes down to it, if I found out somebody like kills somebody else, it's like, oh no, that's like messed up. Find out they SA'd a kid, it's like, no, like,
that's worse.
Burn them, crucify them. You know, that person should just be.
It's bad for society that you exist.
Exactly. Overall, so I'm thinking if like Epstein was an intelligence operative and everything, and he was specifically like blackmailing powerful people, you know, then like who's in charge? I just heard a story about how a bunch of like I can't remember which intelligence agency it was, but they were all like accused of like committing a bunch of sex crimes, right? And this is dark. I don't even know if I want to keep going with this. But long story short, it's like, all right, so you have the ends justify the means, right? So if that's the case, right, how much trafficking is going on that the CIA or other intelligence agencies are just allowing,
bro?
You know?
I remember I was reading this one thing where it was like ICE. I think it was either ICE or like some type of like detaining thing, right? And it's kind of like motherfuckers are selling people.
They just
end up selling the kids.
We have actual like people selling slaves in America right now. It's crazy.
And the thing is, I feel like it's such like. I don't want to say like lucrative as if it's a good thing, but it's like people don't realize how much money is truly in that shit,
crazy,
bro.
Crazy.
I remember I was talking to my friend about Andrew Tate and how he got accused of sex trafficking and stuff like that. And the first thing he said was like, "Oh no, I personally don't believe he did it because he doesn't look like he would do something like that, or it's like he doesn't need to do things. He wouldn't need to do some of that." And I'm like, so you're telling me this person he became so likable that this stranger, you don't believe this stranger would be able to do something like that.
Yeah, for all the money.
And the thing is, it's not even like based off of like humans don't do shit like that. It was like, no, he doesn't do shit like that. And I'm like, so you're sure just based off this social media presence that has been shown.
Yeah.
And I find that so wild how you can just like imprint such an idea like that into people's heads just because of being so likable and so adored and stuff like that.
Exactly. It's crazy because Cosby did all that stuff and he was America's dad. You know, you really like you really can't just be trusting folks because of their internet personalities and everything. But I have a theory about the whole Andrew Tate situation, right? Him and his brother, right? They're the top G's and everything, and they have that aura around them, and they own 14 casinos in Romania and everything, right? So let's say you go to a casino in Romania and you're thinking, oh, I want to go with their brand, right? I want to be a top G. Well, part of their like persona is having women around them all the time.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm wondering, right? did the brothers say, "Oh, we're gonna provide that experience for you and provide a bunch of girls to them," or was it somebody who works for him? You know, 'cause if you're one of the managers at one of the Tate casinos, and the guys are like, "Oh, we just got in," a bunch of guys fly in, and you go, "Oh, I might be able to provide you with the drugs," you know, and it's like, "Oh, cool, I might be able to provide you with the girls." It seems like an organization like a casino would be very, I don't know what the word is, like
it'll drive on profits.
Yeah, it seems very likely that stuff would be going on.
Yeah, people tend to, especially in a place like casino, people tend to spend so much more money just because women are around.
Exactly. And I'm wondering if people are just providing the limit. And then are these people who are there, right? And then they might be around trafficked women. Do they know they're trafficked? Or if these, you know what I'm saying?
That's another. Okay, so there's this. You know what?
It's all messed up. It's all messed up.
Yeah, no.
I just think organizations like that, you know, a casino, you're bound to have some messed up stuff going on there.
Watch this.
I looked a little bit more to the amputation. It looks pretty rough, I'm gonna be honest.
What, the lover boy thing, whatever?
Yeah.
What about it? It looks rough.
Well, it kind of seems like he kind of sort of admitted to doing it all.
Doing what?
The lover boy
Having
thing.
cam girls?
That he would get girls, get them in love with them, get them entrapped into business, steal money from them, make them work for him.
No, they got their pay cut.
But he stole from them. He literally admits in the video, he talks about how you can lie about how much taxes you're paying on behalf of them to steal like a bigger cut than what they're aware of because they're too stupid to figure it out otherwise.
What law is that breaking? That's not human trafficking.
Hold on. I just want to hear it one sec. Did you just say what law is that breaking? That if I tell you to pay something and I lied to you about it? Well, my guess is probably something to do with
That's not
theft.
what he did. That's not what I'm saying. What law are you accusing of amputation?
Well, my guess is it's going to be some form of theft or fraud. That'd be my guess.
So maybe fraud, but not human. You're not accusing him of human trafficking.
Well, no. That's just one part of the human trafficking, was the theft and fraud. The human trafficking part is when he ropes girls into his organization with the only intention of getting them to be camp girls for free. And then I think some of the accusations are he uses physical intimidation or violence to get them hooked onto whatever program so that they feel like they can't leave.
See, the lover boy method is not physical intimidation and violence.
I'm not talking about just the lover boy method. That was one of the accusations that the Romanian police
They're accusing him of manipulating them with love. Like, these girls fall in love with them, and then they don't know how to leave, and they're just kind of confused and manipulated by love.
Sure. So, one, that would already be illegal. But two, I'm almost positive that in the press release...
It's illegal to make girls fall in love with you?
For the express purpose of bringing them back to another country to make them work as cam girls? Yes. It's called sex trafficking.
That's not sex trafficking.
That's called pimping. Yes.
You never had a girl fall in love with you?
So this was my prediction, and you're falling into this because you're a bot. I know programming, right? So my prediction was that first he would get accused of this, and then you guys would come and say, no, that would never happen. But the next step, when you start to realize what he's being accused of, is you would all go, oh, okay, well, that did happen, but it's not a big deal. And I think that's going to be your line throughout all of it. Is you're going to say, okay, sure, he made girls fall in love with them. Sure, he brought them over. You're going to say things as dumb as like, yeah, maybe he stole from them by lying about their taxes, but is that even a crime? Which is insane.
Okay, so, but you're accusing him of very different crimes. Which one are you accusing him of?
Well, hold on. I'm just reading the press release from the Romanian...
Which one do you think that he's going to go down for? Like, do you genuinely think that he's a human trafficker?
Yes. Well, assuming if what he said was true, 100% yes. But I don't know how much he might just like ham up for YouTube or not. But if everything he said on the YouTube was true, on his YouTube videos, then 100%, yeah, he's a sex trafficker.
I didn't know he said that. That's fucking wild.
And I feel
that's really wild.
People don't understand.
Is he guilty?
No, he's not guilty. I think they're going to trial for it.
Okay.
Well,
I haven't kept up on it. Basically, I'm not like super into.
Basically, they're saying that he left in the first place because he got they were on a warrant to go get him for sex trafficking.
Yeah.
So yeah. And that's one thing I was thinking about. It's like, it's just with like laws and stuff like that. There's so many layers to it that people just don't get. And for the example where he says, "Oh, making a woman fall in love with you, that's illegal now." Ha ha ha. Right?
Yeah.
People don't get how crazy that really is.
Absolutely.
The type of manipulation, insane. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, like that's definitely sex trafficking. If you like, like I remember like freshman year, like we did a whole report about it in my English class. We were like researching, and that's like one of the number one ways people like traffic girls, and they pimp them out.
Because like what, you're gonna just like kidnap someone, physically assault them, and then that's just what they'll do for.
No, I was talking about they would get girls. It would be like their girlfriends.
It's better
right?
to yes,
and then you be like, hey, to take care of us, you should really go sleep with these guys. You're my girlfriend, but like go sleep with all these guys, and then girls would get into it. Yeah,
and then it slowly just changes. I remember reading a book. It was like it was written by a pimp, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So basically, the story about it. This dude. He was, as a child, he went through some crazy shits, and then he ends up becoming a pimp. And then the way that he does it, he literally just makes them fall in love, gets them on drugs, and then correlates like their happiness to himself. So the only way that they could be happy is in correlation to him, and that's the way that he just kept getting them wrapped in over and over and over again.
Because it's love and drugs mixed together. That's terrible.
And now it's and then he goes and then he makes them separate from everyone that was around them. So now like he is literally the only person that they can even like talk to and like be around. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There are a ton of different layers to that, and to how like you can manipulate somebody and what is fucked up. And no, I think it just goes even more down the path where we should all be much more educated on all of this, The whole, like, was it Loverboy scheme or Loverboy, like, tactic and everything? Fucked. And on the surface, somebody might deadass look at that and just be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, but it is wild. It is wild.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, my God. Oh.
But I wanted to ask you, right? So it was also part of, like, the whole casinos and, like, sex trafficking being, like, very common in places like that, right? So I got to ask you, if you owned a motel, right, and you found out 20% of your occupants happened to be like prostitutes and everything, what would you do in a situation like that?
Personally, honestly, I don't even know what I would do, because it's like, what? Let's say I go and I just cut that at him, like, you know what? Y'all can't do this shit here no more. Yeah. And now I'm making 20% less money.
Yeah, and that could be make it or break it.
That's exactly. What people aren't going there for like the extravagance of like a 5-star hotel, Ritz casino type of thing. Yeah, it's because of that nature, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it's even a higher percentage than 20.
Yeah, exactly.
So I personally, like, morally, I would like try and like stop it and like. But then it's like when you get the cops involved, it like. Makes the situation, because of the way that America is set up with sex work and shit like that, is looked down upon so much that it's damn near worse for them to get caught by the cops and them to continue to keep working with the